Join Blind Run and Slangerang as they talk about video games every Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time and 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Twitch.tv/blindrungaming. Thanks for tuning in, you sexy beasts. What's up, sons? It's Blind Run with Son of a Tech once again, and this is going to be Son of a Talk episode number 4. But for us, it's probably more like episode number like 150 something. But
oh god, we should probably go through and count that.
Yeah, at some point. See, though, I think I have them deep down in a dark secret share somewhere, like all of those episodes laying around.
Right.
And sometimes I wonder if I should have left them up on YouTube, but I felt like they didn't have enough views, and I don't know. I just kind of took them down because that's what you do.
It's probably preferable.
And the reason I took them off of the podcast portion was because SoundCloud was charging me to keep them up there, so fuck that.
Right.
So
right.
I took that down. But anyways, this week we're going to talk about anti-piracy software.
Oh god.
We didn't keep up with that this week, did we?
No. And MSI is releasing a monitor.
And we have
I got thrown off because you never introduced me. Or
I'm sorry.
Left me a window to
and joining me as always is fucking Slangerang.
Right.
I mean, at this point,
this guy.
That's just a gimme.
Right.
That's just a gimme. It's just like whatever.
But anyway, we'll be talking about the fact that MSI has released a monitor.
Yeah, and video games we played this week. I think this is getting redundant at this point.
Right. Well, there's some other stuff non-video game really.
Yeah,
some upgrades.
There is. We're talking about what we did this week more, I think, for sure.
Maybe. I don't know. I've been thinking about that. But anyway, then closing out as always, we'll talk about the game releases for the week.
Yeah.
Not that there's much on the list.
Well, we're getting right close to Christmas. It would be a little too late for people to be releasing stuff and expecting holiday revenue from it. So
I mean, gift cards.
Yeah. What?
Gift cards.
I mean the developers getting money for the game, if they released it this week, would probably be hard pressed because people have already bought, Skylanders like me. So, and god damn it, I want to play it so bad.
I couldn't even wait. Like, I have 3 or 4 gifts for people, and 2 of them I've already been like, here, I want you to open this now.
Just open it. Well, I did that. Maybe. I did that with my girlfriend. I gave her the Galaxy S6 early, so her HTC had completely crapped out. So
that's 2 HTCs that crapped out on you.
Yep. I'm not a fan of the M8. Super not a fan of it.
Huh.
But
I mean, my M7 died, and then I revived it.
And then you revived it.
Basically reformatting and starting from scratch.
Yeah.
But
well, there you go. So, anti-piracy software has been removed from Doom. They had the Denuvo Anti-Piracy software, which is a pretty popular one. And the initial assumption was that if you got hacked within a certain time period, usually with these anti-piracy softwares, you're able to get a full refund as long as you remove it from the game. So the initial assumption was that that time period had been kind of activated and they were able to go ahead and hack it, so they got the refund on it. But that's apparently not the case here. So what's the case exactly? Are you fully up to date on it?
According to the software manufacturer, they said that they reached the window of contract. So basically, they were to go in and keep the game safe during the sales contract for the game, where they're, basically the first 6 months or whatever it is, where they're most likely to make the largest amount of their money off the sales of the game. And now that they're through that window, apparently it's getting removed, which is what I don't understand. It's like,
yeah,
okay,
I mean, I don't either.
Is it a monthly contract or something? Like, is this because it's, always on DRM or something like that, that it they want to shut down the servers and save some money. That's the only thing that I could understand.
Shutting down the servers and saving money.
Shutting down the DRM servers, at least.
Yeah. I don't know how that works, right? I don't know if it's only really worth it within the first 4 months, because that's when the game sells the most, and then after that it really doesn't matter. I do find it curious. They did talk about some other games, I guess. There was Doom and Inside have been removed, as well as, let's see. Well, no, okay. Doom and Inside it was removed from, but it's actually, they use the same stuff in what? Deus Ex Mankind Divided, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Mirror's Edge.
Right.
Now, Doom in the first place, because it has that kind of nostalgia for PC gaming, it did seem odd that it would have any DRM in it to me. Just because. I mean,
it's one of those things, though, that's kind of the state of gaming now. People work so hard to go and crack games that you kind of have to go and protect your... Like, there's a lot of people that get more enjoyment out of trying to go and crack a games and make copies of it than they do actually out of playing the game.
Oh, yeah.
So
I get more enjoyment out of, like, pulling in, like, the code for No Man's Sky, for example. Like, I didn't even really... Like, I did the performance reviews, but the first, like, 48 hours, I just sat there going through the code, looking at shit, because they left it all unlocked, and, like, I was like, oh... They just gave me the source files on that initial download if you got it within, like, the first, like, hour. And I was like, this is sweet. I'm going to check it out. But, of course, then I was like, well, this game obviously isn't what they said it was going to be, because, you know, it's all the way offline, it's local saves, and it's single player. Well, fuck me.
Right.
And we talked about
it's not like you learned
a couple weeks ago.
Right. Well, we talked about that months ago.
Months ago?
Yeah, I don't think that this is...
No, we talked about Foundation. We've talked about the Foundation update they did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's release the beta version of our game after we've already sold it and it's been on the market for
pretty much
4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then Jeff Keighley at the Game Awards, once again, even though he promised he wouldn't do what he did with No Man's Sky, goes ahead and shows freaking Metal Gear Solid's guys preview that was obviously not fully rendered in game and kind of...
Right.
God. That show's a mess. That show's a freaking wreck. That's why I didn't even feel like talking about it on the podcast right after it happened. I was like, whatever. Nobody takes this shit seriously anymore.
I mean, the people that put it on don't even take it seriously.
No, they don't.
So why should we?
They had 2 like random rappers that were like not a part of that demographic or that gaming demographic at all.
Right.
And I hate to say that there is a gaming demographic, but there obviously is. And it just was like they were there to because they could be there on a live show, and that's all they cared about, and then fucking peaced out. It was a disaster. Disaster. So MSI has a new gaming monitor that they're releasing. I guess this is going to be their first gaming monitor, or their first monitor period.
It's one of those things that, like, do you really think that MSI did the majority of the development on this monitor?
It's Samsung.
Yeah. And I don't understand the idea behind going and branding something that you aren't known for.
You know what I don't understand? A 27-inch 1080p curved screen.
Right. I mean, it does have 144 hertz refresh rate, so that's not...
Yeah, but you're still talking about at 27 inches. You're talking about some pretty bad PPI. I mean, it can't be that good. Maybe the curved helps out with it. I do want to kind of get my hands on one, just because why would they even release it, kind of thing? Right. Is there something special about it I'm not getting? The other thing I didn't understand is it has a weird 4 to 8 millisecond response time. And
Wait.
Samsung's 4K panel is actually running on a TN now. And that's a 1 millisecond on their main line of 4K
I don't
panels.
understand why it's 4 to 8. Like, shouldn't it be a set number?
It's usually they are set. And so,
or is it like, oh, if you're displaying one color on the screen, we can switch between red and blue really, really quick. But
well,
if you
and
put anything else on the screen,
distinguish them by typical and max, which doesn't make much sense to me. Here's the other part that really bugs me is they're still running HDMI 1.4, which it means you're not going to get 144 hertz over the HDMI signal.
Right.
Just clear that up right now, which essentially makes it a useless port for this monitor. And then DisplayPort 1.2, which is 0.2 behind. And then a DVI. The DVI and the DisplayPort, I guess I'm fine with.
I feel like
they're saving enough
Samsung
money.
probably had a bunch of old drivers, and it was like, hey, MSI, we can sell you this shit cheap. Just put your name on it.
Yeah.
That's the only way that this makes sense, because the specs seem so off. Like 1080p instead of 4K, or at least 1440, you know?
But were they even making 27-inch curved fucking displays? I don't even remember those existing at all. I really don't. And maybe I missed something in the market, but
I kind of like the idea of a 27-inch curved. Like, my current monitor is 27-inch 1080p, 60 hertz, which,
I mean,
it's definitely due for an upgrade, but I don't think I'm going to spend $300 on
I feel like for curved you need to be at least 34 inch typically, the way I feel about it.
I mean, it's all relative, you know. It's all the distance you are away from the screen versus, you know, what the radius of curvature is and all that. Like, there's math to it that makes it make sense. Now, I do think it's mostly a marketing scheme more than anything. I don't really think there's that much value to
I've been a big fan
flat.
of MSI this year. You know that. I think I run their motherboard. I've bought two or three sets of motherboards for random builds from MSI. I bought most of their graphics cards, the RX 480, the GTX 1060, the GTX 1070, and the GTX 1080. I think they're great. They're a great line of cards. And then this just comes across as kind of like insulting to the consumer. And I'm kind of like, why? This doesn't fall in line with what you guys have been doing, which is premium products for like maybe only $10 less than the competition, but still a little bit less, you know?
Right.
I mean, you can get like the Gaming X edition for the RX 480 for about $10 to $20 cheaper than the XFX GTR Black edition, and yet usually typically get better overclocks, if not exactly the same overclocks as you would get on the Black edition. So, with better cooling on top of that.
Right.
This doesn't seem like a deal like that. I don't feel like I'm getting a quality Samsung monitor.
I mean,
for a couple bucks less.
It might also be just testing the waters to go and see if...
What is this niche market, though? I mean...
You really think it's that niche, though? I'm saying, like, the price point is low enough that people are going to be like, okay, I want a curved monitor and I trust the MSI brand, and $300 isn't enough to scare me away, you know? Right. Yes, it's not the latest and greatest. It's not 1440.
Now,
is it
4K,
but it is 140.
Is it IPS? I couldn't find in the specs if it was. Being that it's 4 milliseconds, I think it would be IPS. But I don't see it here.
It doesn't say in this.
Yeah, that's weird. It's got to be IPS. If it's TN, then fuck that all to hell. 4 millisecond response time on TN? No way, Jose. It has to be IPS. That's okay. Hold on. In the Newegg questions, what panel does this monitor have? IPS, TN, VA. It doesn't appear to be officially stated anywhere except that it's from Samsung. But every review I read, it's predicting it's a VA-based panel. Ooh. Oh, because it has that flicker-free So that would be like the Asus MG series, which isn't bad. So that panel, like the VA to me, essentially looks like from in front of it looks like a TN panel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But has the viewing angles of an IPS panel, meaning that it still looks washed out like a TN kind of, unless you really play with the color gambit.
Right.
But then you don't lose that. You don't lose the viewing angles like you do with TN. So,
Which I don't really understand why people care about that as much if it's for a personal use computer.
what viewing angles?
Yeah. Like 90% of the time
So
for a monitor, you're gonna
I've been running TN for a while. You know this. I had the 144 hertz. As soon as I turned that thing fucking portrait and put it to my side, the viewing angle is super tough. I can't see it, and it takes me a while to like look at it and read it.
Well, that's because you put it to its side.
But
I still don't understand why you did that.
Because I like to have my Discord chat up there. Duh.
Right.
It works well for chat and for live streaming. So even if I turned it to the side and then like turned it in, it would still, even if I turned it landscape and turned it in, it would still look like that to me. So I think that for TN is fine as a main monitor, right? But if it's a surround situation, TN is shit. That would be my analysis of TN, and I think it's valid. But
we can use that as a good little segue. You did some improvements to your setup today?
Yeah, I tore. So here's the thing. There was somebody talking to me, and they were kind of like, "Hey, your rig's really sweet. Everything's really cool. We haven't seen like an update, like a studio update in a while,
right,
since like last January or February." And right. I've done a lot. I've changed a lot, almost everything. Right. And I was like, okay, I should do one. And then I looked at the cables coming down off the TV, and I looked at like and I was like, fuck. So I started taking, and there was another thing I got. So I got the Titan XP, right?
Yep.
And I had the GTX 1080 before that, and the GTX 1080 only has a single 8-pin, and right. The Titan X has a 6-pin and an 8-pin, and I had gotten the custom sleeved cables from Cable Mod.
Right.
And I didn't get an extra 6-pin when I ordered it because I ordered it to spec, and for this case I had to measure out the cable length for every cable kind of thing, and then I ordered it, and then I had to wait a whole week with all these fucking expensive parts sitting there taunting me. But so I didn't want to do that again with the Titan X, of course, so I just grabbed the extra cable, extra 6-pin and put it in, and I was like, well, okay, that's fine. And I ordered it, and I've actually had it for a couple months. I've had the 6-pin Cable Mod sleeved one, and I just never wanted to take it out. But there's other things. The cooler had gathered quite a bit of dust because it's an open air case. Obviously, it's the Core P5. So I cleaned that out. I put in the sleeved cable on the case, and then I repositioned kind of the wall mount to bring it closer to where now when you walk into the room, you see the Titan sits out just in front of the monitor, so you can
see that you have a big graphics card EPN.
Yeah. Compensating. Yeah. And then everybody does it. Larger cable management, one of those. Just man, they work. The cable management like deals that you get at Home Depot or Best Buy, and you just
those silly little like. Yeah, the wall coverings.
Yeah, but basically, they still look...
a piece of plastic that just sits on top of the cables almost.
They still look good. They look better than nothing, right? And I guess, the other option is like drilling holes in the wall, which...
Right.
Big holes. And then fishing wires and cables.
Well, the bigger thing is that if you're going more than a stud width apart, you're going to have to drill a few studs as well, which is a pain in the dick.
Yeah, which this would be... There's a lot of issues with doing that I just don't want to deal with, and this looks fine. So I went that route. I ran everything down, and I need to be modular too. Let's not lie. I have to be pretty modular because of the testing and stuff I do on the channel. I'm not gonna fucking sit there trying to fucking fish some shit out to test something. But whatever. So I did that. And yeah, it looks super clean now. I took the Xbox, moved it to the right. I drilled a 2-inch hole in the desk and put a grommet there so I can drop the mouse and keyboard wires through the middle of the desk and then run them up. And then I'm able to drop the XLR cable down through there. And I have the 2 audio input and outputs, right in front of me, like the audio amp and the I run a tube amp preamp on my mic. It's the Art. It works really well just to warm up my voice because I'm so high pitched as it is. It helps out. And then I have like my weather monitor on the left there. So
right.
I'm happy with it. I think it turned out pretty good. And the test bench. I guess I can't forget about that. That's the star of the show most of the time, which is the Corsair XB Evo, which is a LAN rig and a test bench, which is kind of the coolest rig ever. Like, there's all these people that are like getting these crazy expensive test benches, and I'm like, that's not even multi-purpose. And I picked this one up on sale for like $89. It has handles on the fucking side. All sides come off. It's super easy to drop in any parts like on demand, right?
Right.
I don't know why more people don't use it. Like more serious tech tubers don't use it. I guess
probably
a lot of
because
serious...
it's $89 and they want to be able to go and wave their E-pins, like show off their Titan XP in the corner.
Yeah, but honestly, I think test benches look like trash when people have stuff on it, but whatever.
Right.
The only one I like, the only idea, but you can get standoffs to do this, is getting the the screwless motherboard standoffs, so you can swap motherboards a little bit faster. And I'll probably just order those standoffs for this when I get to that point, if I get into testing a lot of motherboards at some point.
Do you think that's something that really has a huge market?
I think so, because motherboards are very different. There are a lot of options in motherboards, and so I think being able to distinguish, looking up at least features, like I would almost just do a feature overview. I wouldn't do a full review, if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't plug in a CPU every single time and be like, well, this one overclocks to this, but this one only overclocks to that. That just sounds like a pain in the ass. But having a resource to go to that says, okay, this has 2 M.2 slots and they're both PCI Express, because you got M.2 slots, you got M.2 slots that only support SATA, you got USB-C, you got USB 3.1. You got a lot of features that are built into these things that a lot of people don't understand even what they do. And I don't all the time. I have to look that shit up, and it gets frustrating.
Yeah. No, it took me a little while. So we'll transition a little bit. I finally upgraded my PC.
Woo!
It's been a really, really long time. To go and put into perspective, my last rig was
really
i5 2500. That's right, a 2500. I didn't miss the K. I didn't have a K. And it had a GTX 760 WindForce edition.
Before that, you had a 560, right? Was it a 560?
A long time ago, yeah. I think
that was right when we started doing kind of this thing or whatever. Right. Yeah, you had that. You upgraded to the 760.
Right, and it was kind of a budget upgrade. I don't think the 9 series was out yet.
When we started, I had an AMD 6850. And then I bumped up to a single 7870. And then I got 2 7870s and regretted it until I finally sold them.
So
I was like, Crossfire, what the fuck?
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough that I was able to basically save my entire old rig. So I have two like fully functional computers, and I did it relatively intelligently, I'd say, because I basically went and bought a new micro ATX or mini ATX motherboard for my old CPU and all of the parts in my old build.
How much
And,
was that used? Because the used parts for the 2000 series is pretty, or the second gen i7s or whatever, or i5s, they're pretty up there still.
Well, it was just the motherboard. And the motherboard, I want to say, was like $70.
I guess that's
like
not
that.
bad. I mean, I
Yeah.
see some of the CPUs and I'm like, why is a 2500K going for the same fucking retail price as a fucking 6500K? Like, what the hell's wrong with people?
Yeah.
Or 6600K, I should say. But
I mean, some people like their rigs or want to get things, running again without having to buy all of the components,
yeah, and I guess some
20
of those upper end
200
older
bucks.
Intels are still. I mean, they still function just fine. I know people that are on like first gen i7s. That is there really a need to upgrade? Probably not.
Right. Yeah, no, and I mean, you couple that with the idea that if you decide to go to a new gen CPU, now you're looking at upgrading the motherboard, probably getting a new cooling solution, whether it's air or water, because they don't all
What
work
did you go with?
everything. So I'm in air right now. I figure that's an easy upgrade path for the future, but I haven't talked about the new build at all yet. So I was lucky enough to have a friend give me a 5930K. Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
An ASRock OC Formula X99 motherboard and four 4 gig sticks of Corsair 2133 DDR4 RAM. So that was a damn good start to the build, and I took a really long time to go and build it out, mostly because
like I mean, that's like $1,000 start to the build.
right, and I really felt that I needed to go and spend the rest of the $1,000 to go and make it into the build that it should be.
Right.
Now, it honestly probably should be water cooled, and I should be, overclocking it and all that, but that's going to be for the future. I wanted to get it into a rig now, so I got my M.2. I have the
Did you
Samsung.
You got any pictures up yet, or that we can?
Nothing that we can share yet. I'll try to get you something before you post the video.
Cool. That'll be good. We'll try to put something, I guess, on my Instagram. It would be the easiest for people to get to.
Yeah,
and then
probably.
I'll just link it in the show notes.
Yeah, the only picture I have of it right now is that terrible lighting picture that I sent to you, and that was before I had it really running.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But 960 Evo, or the Samsung 960 Evo M.2 that just came out. Literally, I was on the waiting list to go and get it, and I was like, well, it's coming out at just the time that I'm putting it together.
Nice.
So,
yeah, they're still Amazon. They're still not getting released till the 31st. I was looking at that.
Really?
Yeah. Because I got another build I'm doing. Actually, I just finished one for a guy here, and his friend wants one, and I was kind of like, well, let's get the latest and greatest M.2, and it was like, well, you got to pre-order it, so yeah, we can't even start the build till after the new year, because it's one of those things that it's so close. It's like we could get the RD400, but we're getting not a lot better, but significant enough and new enough to want to be cutting edge, and it fits the color scheme better because the RD400, which I have, and it's a great M.2 drive, NVMe drive, but it's also blue. So
right.
I have this gray build with this gnarly blue stick in there, it's just I could pull it off, but do you really want to do that? That's like pulling off a sticker off of something that was literally $2.50 a gigabyte. So
right.
No, I don't want to pull that off. I'm gonna show it, but that's cool.
threw that all into a thermal take suppressor F51. So it's a bigger case than I'm used to. I'm not a fan of gigantic PCs.
Is it a side window?
No, I went for no side window. I went for quiet. So this thing is the quietest PC I've owned by far.
Nice.
It's pretty freaking awesome. And I also got an Asus ROG Strix 1080. So
why'd you go with Asus?
So I've always been a fan of Asus in the past.
I have too.
I read some things about they are doing some of the only automated assembly on a lot of their cards. I don't know if this one is one of them, but given the fact that they are looking into the idea of doing robotic assembly on all of the little components on the PC or on the PCB, I would assume that their quality control is going to be relatively high.
And you want to support that technology moving forward.
Right.
I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, that said, pick and place robotic soldering is kind of a standard in a lot of the industry. I'm surprised. Maybe it was just a marketing ploy for them to go and make a big deal about it. I don't know that the other graphics cards manufacturers don't use it, but I'll still go back and lean on my statement from earlier that I've always trusted Asus. They make good motherboards, so I don't see why they wouldn't be able to go and make a good video card.
Yeah, I think they make good high-end video cards. Their low-end's been lackluster this year. As far as like anything like 470 below, so like 470, 460, and then like 1050 and 1050 Ti, and even the 1060 was kind of meh. But their top end is pretty good still. I would say that it's definitely a better purchase over EVGA right now.
Right.
There's that.
Even though I have an EVGA 1060, like the mini version.
Yeah. But even in my latest video, I poked fun because I was like, this has actively cooled VRMs on a mini version of the 1070. And yeah. I said something about like how it overclocked, like the memory overclocked better than any like GTX line or Pascal line I've had so far. Right. And then I was like, of course I've tested mostly EVGA cards, so there's that.
So all said, I'm pretty damn happy. I did have a little bit of issues because the motherboard and CPU came from a prior build.
Now, have you played anything but WoW on it yet?
I mean, I just got it together last night, so no, I haven't. I'm still installing and picking and choosing. The first game I'll probably be playing is going to be Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
Have you played that yet?
I have not. I was basically waiting for this build to go and play that game.
See, I played that in our kind of hiatus, so I want to talk about it. In fact, when you start playing it, let me know. I might start a second playthrough just to jog memories so we can talk about it.
Okay.
You'll like it. I mean, yeah,
I've liked pretty much every Deus Ex game. I loved the first one, minus the one that we won't talk about.
There's about two. There's a mobile one we won't talk about.
But that one, I mean, I don't count mobile games for most things. So.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I played Space Hulk Deathwing, which is
You've been really, really into that.
I am, because I have a Titan XP that can actually run it at 1440p, 30 FPS. Son of a bitch.
No, wait, you're only getting 30 FPS out of that?
So the game runs fine until you get to these like horde mode sections, which are the only sections that really matter for 60 FPS.
Right.
And it drops to 30 like
oh god
on command as soon as those happen. It's only using a single thread of the CPU. So
you really need a super fast CPU.
No, you need a super fast single threaded CPU.
Okay.
So it's pretty bad. Hopefully they get it fixed. They just released a statement that they have a patch coming out for it.
Right.
And the game comes out on the 19th in France, and they're actually from France, so I feel like they want to get it fixed by then. So I think tomorrow we're going to see a fix.
Okay.
Because they'll go, well, we don't want to go to the water cooler and get bitched at because our game's dropping to fucking single digits on a GTX 1060 because that's what it does on the 1060. Like I had the 1060 in the test rig, had downloaded the game already, so I was like, well, I'll just boot it up, and I was like, I can't even fucking test this shit. This is terrible. Like,
literally unplayable.
So that's why I just released a PC performance review, but it's a lot of fun, dude. So it just has that customizability in it that makes it addicting as hell. And it kind of brings me back to those old school first person shooters, and it has this weird like mech warrior feel to it, obviously.
Right.
I guess. And so it's a lot of fun, and it has co-op, and so I really want to play co-op with some people, but
nobody has Titan XPs.
I mean, I hear some people that are like, yeah, I like the game and I play it and I'm playing it on a fucking 970 or something. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't sound...
They're probably playing at an ultra low settings.
You aren't gonna heal me. You can't... So I did do that. If you switch between like maximum settings and low settings, there's no FPS change. But if you switch from 1080p to 720p, then there's a change. So maybe they're playing it like 720p. I mean, that would be my best bet. Well, which, that's going so far back for me in resolution, I can't do it. Like, that's going to Xbox 360 days, which is decades old now at this point. So fuck that. Anyways.
I never had an Xbox 360 that had HDMI. Like, the Xbox 360 had the component.
What was that? Was that 1080i at least, or no?
I don't think it hit 1080i. I think it was 720p only.
Straight up. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go and think of 360, it's not good.
It's pretty pixelated, you might say.
Right.
You might say that PPI is a little poopy.
Yes.
It's a little long in the tooth at this point.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Sounds good. You want to talk about game releases?
The whole one that we have on the list?
Shh! Don't spoil it. I tried to look up some others, and then I was like, this isn't even worth it. And this isn't even worth it either, because do you see what this game's coming out for? Actually, I just want you to read what this game's coming out for first.
All right. This game is coming out for Android, iOS, Mac OS, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Windows PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One. So basically every fucking thing. You know what's not on that list, though?
What?
And we have some friends that would be rather disappointed by this. Linux is not represented on that list.
Oh, snap.
Literally everything else. Xbox 360 and Mac OS are on this list. PlayStation 3 is on this list. Android is on this list. Linux? Suspiciously not included.
They may argue with you and say that Android is based on Linux.
They can go fuck a duck.
Gotcha. The game is called The Walking Dead. This is a new one. It's a new frontier. I'm so tired of these games. I hope they stop Walking Dead and just die permanently.
Right.
The first one was cool. Second one, not so much. No, the first episode of the first one was cool. The second, I got bored of it pretty quickly. So I don't like Walking Dead though.
I gave up on Walking Dead probably after season 3.
I think I gave up on it after season 1.
Well, season 1 was pretty bad. Like season 1, they took a pretty far out direction change from the comic book.
Well, and even I don't even really like the comic book or the graphic novel or whatever you want to call it, because there's no fucking color in it. Just like they're the laziest fucking douchebags in fucking comic book history.
Did you really just say that? I mean, colorization doesn't make the story better.
The story was boring. There's nobody dying. I don't
There's
mind
dead
like
people
those,
everywhere.
There's those artistic styles where it's like black and white, and then there's like the crazy like deep dark like deep red,
Yep.
and like I like that just fine. But no, I just felt like it was cheap all the way around. I kind of feel like The Walking Dead is a cheap thrill for drama-induced fools. I don't know. Like, you have to really be into like Laguna Beach to like Walking Dead.
Yeah, no, it's essentially One Tree Hill.
And this zombies. I'm gonna lose all of my subs because there's so many Walking Dead fans, but I'm just like so done with that shit. I'm just gonna say it like I feel like it is. I don't like Walking Dead.
No, my neighbors basically think that I'm their kid or something, or their dad. I don't know. It's weird, but they've been riding me for months, almost the entire time that I've known them, to go and catch up on The Walking Dead. And every time I'm just like, no. No. And then they message me after, every Sunday night after watching it.
You won't believe what happened.
No, actually.
And a zombie showed up on screen one time in the whole entire fucking episode. And
that's the funny thing. They've actually been complaining about how bad it's been getting. So, yeah, they'll turn their cheek and then be like, yeah, you should catch up and watch it so we can complain about it together. And it's like, no. That's not how this works. That sounds
terrible. I did want to mention, if you want a good show, Westworld is...
No, that's an HBO show?
Yeah, but HBO is free. HBO On Demand is free with Amazon Prime for 30 days. So I totally took advantage of it just to check out Westworld because I was hearing good things about it. And... first episode gets you hooked hard. Like, I haven't been hooked this hard since the first season of Lost, where they took that crazy turn and you were just like, what? And then, yeah.
I never watched Lost.
Okay.
I think I watched like one or two episodes.
I'll try to think, I don't know.
No, I'll give it a try.
I pay
for HBO.
Even if I give you the premise of the story, I spoil the entire first episode. So I'm not going to say anything other than go check out Westworld. It's a Western.
All right. And on that note, guys, I think that wraps it up for us. We will see you next week.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next Tuesday. Not really, probably Monday. Maybe even Sunday.
All right. Have a good one, guys.